Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to my favorite horror movie. It's a new week, it's a new episode, and a new guest. Today we're having Destiny Faulkner on from Back from the Dead, from the Good Real Hunting channel, and Fear Freaks. So we got a great guest, we got a great movie, and Jennifer's Body, a cult classic, and we're going to dive right into it. So kick back, relax, and remember, you get us to 500, you get to punch Gabe in the face. I've been promoting this. We're going to make it happen. We're going to find a homeless guy that's going to punch Gabe in the face and maybe give him mono, too. Who knows? Stick around. It's my favorite horror movie. All right, Gabe, what did you think of the intro about Mono and the homeless guy? Did you like it? Is it original?
It is what it is. If it helps us get to 500, I'm all good. It's all good.
That's what I'm talking about. Sacrifice.
Sacrifice.
How's everybody doing today? Victoria, you doing good?
Good. I've been up since like 5, so I'm tired.
She has.
She's here.
Yes, and we have a guest today. Destiny, thank you for coming on so much. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. I think
And
the
how are you
second
doing
time
today?
being here. Great.
Third.
We did
Third.
X. We broke down
Oh, yeah,
X.
we
That
did
was
do it.
fun.
What was the other one?
You
The very
did-
first time.
Oh, the horror reboots. We did horror reboots.
Yes, because Gabe said Jaws.
I did.
Gabe did say Jaws.
Reboot
Yeah.
Jaws.
Sorry, I guess I just blacked out during that episode after I heard that. Yeah, third time being here.
Yeah.
It's been a good day, easy breezy, and I'm excited to talk about my favorite horror movie. Well, one of my favorite horror movies.
We were excited that you picked this. And so far,
Yeah.
everybody's picked something very unique. Cody did The Thing, Leo did Hellraiser, and then you picked Jennifer's Body. And I think I could speak for all of us, or I mean, at least me and Victoria. I know Gabe likes this movie too, or we like really, really like this movie. So I've seen people pick movies that are just different and unique and have something to talk about there. Because just like last week, this is a movie that wasn't really well received upon release, but now has this ginormous cult following. So, Gabe, let's jump into it. Let's start off with the first question. Destiny, why is Jennifer's Body one of your favorite horror movies? Let's tell us your whole history with the movie, like when you first saw it, all that stuff.
So I think whenever I first saw it, I think I might have been at like my dad's apartment, and so it would have been probably like 2010. I didn't see this in theaters. My family, we didn't go to the theaters a lot. I wish I would have saw this in theaters, and I immediately fell in love with it. I thought it was so cool. It was so fun, and it was a horror movie that was kind of like catered toward females, I guess, and
Yeah.
you know, it dives into female friendships, and so I was really excited to watch it. And I was already obsessed with Megan Fox and Amanda Seyfried. They're both amazing. And so you have a great cast, and I was so excited to see it. And this became one of mine and my best friend, Maddie. It's one of our favorite movies to watch together. It's one of our favorite movies, like, together. And I feel like we can just both relate to the characters so much. And ever since the first time I saw it, I've just been in love. And it wasn't until, I guess, I got into, like, killer flicks and stuff, and where there's like other opinions and I actually get to see, because I grew up such like, I don't know, was not aware of anything in the world besides where I was. And so that's when I found out like how hated it was when it first came out. And it generally, like, I took a second, I was like, ow, this hurts me, like, how dare y'all. But you know, when I like kind of read reviews and stuff, I had no idea. And so now I'm happy, you know, that it's getting love because it deserves love. But I was there pretty much since the beginning. Not trying to gatekeep, but I will say that.
I'm gatekeeping.
So I am actually, you know what? I am, because
Girl boss, gaslight, gatekeep.
Exactly, the three girls. But I just think this movie's amazing. I think it's definitely ahead of its time. I feel like people throw that around so often, but this movie was ahead of its time. With like the female relationships and like the allegories, what you can, you know, the sacrifice could really mean to like people. And so, yeah, I think it's just an amazing movie. I was rewatching it earlier for this because it's been like a few months since I've seen it. And I was like, yeah, oh yeah. Every time I watch
Good
it,
choice.
I feel like I pick up on a different joke, or like now that I've seen more stuff growing up, I get more of the references, you know? And so I'm like, okay, yeah. So I don't know. I think it's great. Ahead of its time, amazing movie. And if you don't like it, that's fine. That's fine. But hot people like this movie. Therefore.
I think
All right.
people that understood what it was going for will like this movie,
Hmm.
and they're also hot. I mean, let's face
Exactly.
it. Cool people like
Look
Jennifer's
at the
body.
panel.
Okay.
Gabe, did you freshly shave? You got a fresh dome?
Oh, no, I do not. That's
Well,
hence
you're,
why
you're
I'm
still
wearing
part
a
of the
hat.
hot group anyway, man. You're still part of it. But no, Karen Kusama and Diablo Cody were voices in the genre who had done other things. And Karen Kusama is this director that you could throw at anything. She could do noir, she could do drama, she could do big action spectacle. And they bring her in to direct Jennifer's Body because Jason Reitman said we need a female perspective because Diablo wrote this about intense female friendships and the allegory of the period cycle as well, which is big in this, and it makes sense. And they wanted Megan Fox, and this is a movie that just works. And I think the marketing, when we'll talk more about it, really hurt this movie because the studio said, well, we'll market it towards teenage boys because teenage boys like Megan Fox, even though the director and the writer said, no, this is a movie about intense female relationships. And it's also a horror movie. It's a horror comedy, and it dives into different things. And when you watch the movie without thinking about the marketing, watching it now, which is why so many people check it out now and they go, oh, this movie rules. And Megan Fox is really funny and vicious. And it's like Mean Girls mixed with The Lost Boys, and it's awesome. But I don't know, Gabe, I'll let you take over from here. And I just wanted to give just a little bit of background on Karen Kusama because she is a phenomenal director. And reading all the behind the scenes action, I could see everything that she was inspired from Carrie to The Lost Boys and Brian De Palma and the way she was shooting the movie. There's a real energy here that you don't see in most horror comedies that they put in here that like nobody cared to pay attention to because they said, fuck this movie. It's for teenage boys.
So I'm gonna start you off easy here. Oh
Wait,
yeah.
before
What?
Gabe goes, you're talking about a woman's perspective. I was gonna say, I know we're gonna get into it more, but
And I just completely ignored a woman's perspective. Victoria, go ahead.
Yep.
I'm
Interesting. Interesting.
Weird.
Damn it.
I like how like a lot of the jokes. I mean, maybe everyone knows it, but a lot of the jokes are like geared towards women. Like she calls her Vagisil. She calls her
And
monostat.
monostat.
I didn't even know what that was.
Explain
I
that
didn't.
one to Tony. So it was
God,
like, she called her a yeast
Wait,
infection pill.
how do you not know what that is, Tony?
I did not know what that was. I said her line delivery was good. I said I didn't get the reference, and Victoria told me what it was. I said, "Oh, all right."
Oh.
Oh,
See?
Didn't get it. Didn't get
Those
it.
that get
Gabe,
it, get
I-
it.
What do you
You're
know
gonna
about yeast
ignore me.
infections, Gabe? How many yeast infections do you have every year, Gabe? Huh?
I
Felt
have
so
I,
proud about that reference.
I have none, but I mean, dude, I think when you watch TV early in the morning,
What are you watching that has yeast infections, huh?
it's commercials for like on
Oh,
Oprah.
yeah.
I don't believe him.
On
I don't
Oprah.
believe him.
It's
I
like
don't
it's
believe
like
him.
it's like those types of Vagisil and the other one are like commercials that you find in like during like the middle of like soap operas, like in the middle of the day.
Okay. This is
Okay.
why. All right.
Right.
I'll accept the answer. I'll accept it. You tried to turn the tables on me. I turned it back on you.
All right. So we're gonna get into it, right? I'm gonna start you off easy here, because you did mention female friendships, right? So I just want to know, would you be more friends with Needy or with Jennifer?
I want to say Jennifer because, come on, it's Jennifer. But also, she would intimidate me. And, she's not the greatest friend. She's generally not that great of a friend. So I think Needy would definitely be the better friend. But I would like to be friends with both of them. Maybe I could be
Yeah.
like their mediator, when they're both kind of going at each other. I'm like, girls,
Like, come on.
chill.
You need
That's
somebody in the
all.
middle because they're both
Exactly.
like extreme, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes,
Right.
total opposites of one's really bitchy, one's super sweet, and I feel like I'm both. And so I think I'd be the perfect middle ground. So I would absolutely be friends with them. This would be yes. And also I feel like friendships usually work better in threes. Hello, I'm right here.
Mhm.
Three Musketeers,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Company,
See?
True.
the Three Stooges. I mean, friendships
Three
work
men
in
and a
threes.
baby.
3 Men and a Baby. The list goes. I mean, Full House. These are all threes.
This is another stream topic, I think.
Yeah, we could just name friendships.
Threes.
There's three friends.
friendships.
3 friendships.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. So, like we've been saying, right? It's considering how well directed, how well written, and how generally provocative the Jennifer's Body was. It's not recognized to be one of the better movies. Why do you think the film failed to resonate with critics and audiences like 13 years ago? Like, what missed the mark on it for you?
Definitely, obviously the marketing, like
Yep.
Tony mentioned earlier, the marketing absolutely failed this movie, but it wasn't just them. It was like producers involved, and people are pushing this image of Megan Fox because, she was in the paparazzi and she was in Transformers and fucking Michael Bay and all that kind of stuff. She kind of had this reputation of like who she was, but it's how people perceived her to be. And so when this movie comes out and, they see that she's just this man eater and she's like a siren, basically, she's luring men with sex to murder them. And so they see that and all they see is sex. They're like, okay, yeah, sex. And this movie is more, it's not really Jennifer's story, it's Needy's story. It's told from her perspective, the entire movie. But you wouldn't fucking know that by the marketing because she is on one cover with Jennifer in front of her and she's kind of standing behind. But the main cover is Jennifer sitting at the desk and it says "Hell Yes" on the back. When she wears nothing like that in the movie, that has like almost nothing to do with the movie. It's just her looking good. Hell yes. And so this was marketed towards young men. They knew Jennifer or Megan Fox, absolutely young men. The fucking makeout scene was everywhere. It was
in
most of the
every
trailer. But that's not, like, yes, that means something, but it's not two hot girls making out. It's like, these are friends.
It's not even a sexual kiss. It's like this lustful power grab. And Jennifer, it's like Jennifer still checking, do I have power over you still? And Needy's perspective is completely the opposite. Does she still need me? And it's this big moment, but in the trailer, it's a sexy moment. And I can tell you, I was 13 when this came out, and I had that poster, and I thought, oh, this movie looks great. And just because of that. So, I mean,
I think it won MTV's Best Kiss for that year.
It did. I think it did win its Best Kiss. Yeah,
it did.
Yeah.
And it's just because you have two hot girls kissing, and like you said in the movie,
even
like
the title,
Jennifer's body, her
Jennifer's
body. When it's
like,
really not, it's not about like her body. I mean, I love the title. I think it's great. It's like, what is this? Jennifer's body. But it's all marketed towards like Megan Fox looking hot, and that's all it was, and that's all like. There's like an interview with Megan Fox and then Diablo Cody, and it's a great little interview. It's like 33 minutes on YouTube, and they're talking about it and like how the marketing was really just like mishandled. And Karen or Diablo Cody like wrote this whole thing saying like this is how it needs to be marketed, like this is what it should be, and all they said was Megan Fox hot. That's what they wanted from the movie, and like the look on Megan Fox's face, it looked like she's about to cry because it's like that's all they saw this movie as was her hot, was a makeout scene, was like how like, oh, she's gonna unzip her jacket, we see some of her boobs, or she's swimming naked in the lake. Like that's all they cared about. They didn't care about how like funny this movie is and how like they talked about how like strong female friendships are, especially growing up and getting older in puberty and high school and all this shit that's just being thrown at you at once, and you're trying to find yourself within all that. And sometimes female friendships, I feel like the lines are kind of blurred between friendships like platonic and then like actual like relationships. And I feel like a lot of girls do experience that. Maybe not everyone talks about it, but I feel like we've had friendships to where it's like those lines are almost like blurred. And so just because you're like your best friends, but sometimes you can genuinely love your best friend and be in love with your best friend. And that's what I feel like Needy is for Jennifer, but they don't care about that. And it really makes me mad whenever I found out all about that. I was genuinely like, I get heated. I get pissed off because it's fucked up. Or how they took in like a 13-year-old boy's like comment for the movie saying like needs more boobs. Because that's all they fucking care about, because you market it to the wrong demographic, and of course it fails. And then they're like, oh, don't know why it failed, shit movie. It's like, no, y'all weren't there for it. Wrong people, because this is not made for, I don't want to say not made for them. Anyone can like the movie. Doesn't matter.
But there's
anything.
A female perspective.
But
that's the whole thing.
It's made for females.
It's made for girls about the girl experience growing up. There's one champion of this movie who is a guy that we talked about last week. hated The Thing, and I just wanted to shout this out real quick. Roger Ebert was a defender of Jennifer's Body. He gave a good review, and he said he really liked it, which is crazy thinking about how he didn't like The Thing. But this movie is really smart, and Diablo had just received praise for Juno, which is again about the experience of growing up as a female with a bunch of great witty pop culture references and quick-witted dialogue that Diablo's absolutely known for. And she even brought that to Evil Dead, which Fede Alvarez did not know how to write English, and he needed somebody to rewrite, and she came in and rewrote that movie too. So she's somebody that loves horror movies, and Karen Kuzma, same as well. And this movie would have been totally different if a guy had done it. Let's say if like Eli Roth or Jason Reitman, who said, I love this movie, but I'm not going to direct it. I'll produce it, and we'll find a really good female director to make this happen. And it goes to everything that you guys said. If a guy handles this, it's a different movie. It's the trailer. It's the trailer that they marketed. It's not the actual movie that we get. So.
Even in the movie too, it's like it's so. I know you said like how it was marketed, but like there's like no boobs in the movie besides like a little bit. But then there's like I like the comparison when Needy and her boyfriend are about to have sex. It like cuts to him taking his shirt off and you can see his chest. Whereas like I feel like if a man had directed it or like any other movie directed by men in general, you always see the boobs first, taking off the shirt, and it's all seductive. But him, it's like you don't even see Needy at all. You just see his chest, which I kind of noticed.
Well, even for a movie that's sexy, it's so sexless. Like the sex is like not really appealing. When Jennifer's taking her shirt off, she's about to fucking eat this dude. She's about to murder him. When she's swimming in the lake, it's like the shark from Jaws. Like you're not really turned on by anything she's doing. Yes, Megan Fox is attractive, and of course she is because the character calls for that. But there's more going on with that character about insecurities, right? And like even like with the sex scene with the boyfriend, Chip, it's kind of sexless. He's kind of a dweeb. And like it's played almost for laughs, and like Needy's having this revelation, and he's like pumping away in like the slowest, tiniest.
I'm not sure I would call it that.
It's like it's an awkward scene. So like it's exactly like that.
Chump.
He really is. He's like, am I too big?
Am I too big?
A great line. That was. I forget that actor's name. I gotta. What's his name again? But he was in Scott Pilgrim, and he's always good. Johnny Simmons, he's great as those awkward characters.
And Kyle Gallner's in this movie.
Yeah.
As a goth.
Adam Brody. Adam Brody's great.
Oh my God, Adam Brody.
Adam Brody. Oh my, don't even. His boy, that man is fun, especially as Nikolai with the eyeliner. I know he's like
real bad,
absolutely terrible. He is such a piece of shit, but he looks so good. For no reason.
Which brings me though to my next question for you, because of that, right? Is what I found interesting was sort of how we all think about musicians, right? And these groupies from like David Bowie and his groupies, Led Zeppelin, and all that, right? So what do you think this film suggests about male musicians and young women? Speaking about low shoulder and all that stuff. I mean, I think to me, I found that aspect very interesting of this movie and how young women are so easily, I'm not going to say manipulated, but like, so like, they're like really easy to get into like a group or a band type situation.
Yeah. Like I'm not going to say like all male musicians are scumbags because I know not all of them are, but unfortunately, there's a good,
right.
Like we just keep finding more stuff about him. Like, oh God, because I like music like that. I'm like, oh, please stop. No more. Why is everyone so shitty? But, like this does kind of play into that sort of like cliche, I would say almost that like, because they think the whole time, they're going to have sex with her. They're going to assault her and like rape her. And that's what, they're thinking. That's what Needy like comes in. She's like, she is a virgin because they're talking about like, oh, she's definitely a virgin. She doesn't give it up or anything like that. And you can see, which I love this about Jennifer, because you could see how confident she is until she meets Nikolai. And then all of a sudden she's super giggly and like nervous. And you can tell she's super nervous around him because she's like attracted to him, like in love with this lead singer, which been there. So she's so giddy around this guy, and you can see such like a character change for her, even though it's something small. And I feel like, again, if you're not if you're just looking at her being hot, you're not going to notice these things, like
Right.
how giddy she is around him. And, you know, so Needy steps in because she is a good friend and was like, she is a virgin and it beats sleeping with creeps like you, because unfortunately, I would say, you know, young women were impressionable, because like, I know if that was me, I would definitely be like, okay, cool. Like, this is really cool, but
Mhm.
they're pieces of shit. And so like, I do think this is saying like, men like that, even though they're not really in power because they're no one as of right now, they still have like an advantage when it comes to stuff like that, because they know what they can do. And that's unfortunate. Not all men are like this. Like, I've heard D. Snyder is one of the greatest people. He never fell into anything like that, which I think is so like admirable. You know, he's always a family man, which good. He never really did drugs. Cool.
What about
So,
Adam Levine?
ugh. We're talking
Well,
about
it's
Might
people
need to
that
see
make
the booty.
What's
good
crazy?
music.
It's
Okay.
a line in the movie too.
I
Don't you
know
want to be
Maroon
like Adam
5.
Levine? I want to be like it. Yeah, but it's funny considering today
That's-
all the things
that's
that are
funny,
just coming out
actually.
about.
When I was watching it earlier, I was like, anyways,
No, hold up.
hold up. What are y'all saying? But yeah, I think this definitely is kind of playing into that sort of mindset that, you know, rock bands, some of them are creepy and sleazy, because a lot of them are, and they will take advantage of you, which they do.
Mhm.
They do.
Which they do.
Yeah,
And
and I
sacrifice you
thought
to
you
the
were.
devil.
Yeah, I
Yep.
thought you were absolutely right. Where that's one of the first things I noticed was her change from
Mhm.
being a super strong, independent
I
woman
saw that.
to like all of a sudden like, oh my god, he's here, and I'm like looking at Adam Brody, I'm like, you look like Pete Wentz. You look like a broke down Pete Wentz.
He does, but Adam
What?
Brody's so great as like character moments. He's so great as like those sleazy kind of roles. I really do like him, and he just doesn't give a shit in this. And it goes back to what you said. There is power there, even though they're nobody. They know that they can do this, and they're so sure about it. And Jennifer, it goes back to her being insecure, and everybody is kind of just like fawning over her. Chris Pratt, and who we haven't even mentioned.
Oh my
It's crazy
God,
that
I
he's in this
forgot-
movie.
I haven't seen this movie in ages. I was like, is that Chris Pratt? What's he doing
But
here?
like, he reminds you of a type of guy that would exist in this small town like this.
Oh,
That
yeah,
would like be
absolutely.
sleeping with a
Yeah.
teenager. Like, yeah, totally. Like this character would be doing that. So she's used to these guys like just over the moon for her. And here you
Right.
have a guy who just doesn't give a shit and sort
Because
of
he's from
whatever.
the city.
He's from the city,
And
and
that's
it
what here's the thing that you have to think about, right? In a sense, is when you're from a small town or what have you, right? Anybody who's from like the city, it's sort of like a little bit of awestruckness. They're like,
Yeah.
oh, you're from the city. Like when I went to like small town Minnesota for my girlfriend's where she's from, it was like, oh, you're from Chicago? Like, oh my God, like everybody was so excited because it's small town Minnesota. Like they didn't even care about Minneapolis. It's like, oh no, you're from Chicago. Like, oh, how's Chicago? I love, I want to go visit Chicago. So like there's a small town mentality, and not that that's a bad thing, but when somebody says, oh, I'm from like a, whatever major city, it's like, all right, cool. Like you're sort of like intrigued. And that's I think what happened to Jennifer, when she's like, oh well, they're from the city. Like, Chris Pratt's making fun of them. She's like, well, they're from the city.
Exactly. They're from the city. There's something like new, because like, again, like there's, whenever Jennifer asked if anyone they know died in the bar, and then Nudie was like, we know everyone. And
yeah.
it's like, yeah, because that's how a lot of small towns are. Like, you do know everyone. And so it's something like different. It's something new. And they wear eyeliner. And I mean, there are guys that wear eyeliner. We see the goths, love them. But,
Play.
it's just something that's like new for her, and it's intriguing. And like, I understand, because it's like, it's a rock group and they look kind of different. They look cool. And you obviously like, you want to make an impression. And because like you're saying, like Jennifer is insecure, like to her core, she is insecure. She needs validation, not just from men, but from everyone. She needs to feel validated. And so when there's a guy who in her head is above her, even though, come on, she's Megan Fox, but even though she thinks this guy is above her in a way, she feels insecure compared to him. Because like, maybe at this moment, she's no longer the most like interesting in the room, or she's not the hottest person in the room. It's like, now we have this guy and I want to be with this guy. And so I do think, Diablo Cody, she knew what she was doing. She knew what she was doing when she wrote, I think, every part of this movie. Which she said how like easy like this was to write for her, and I feel like I can see that because she compared like Needy and like Needy being her real self, Brooke, which is her like real name, and then Jennifer as like the Diablo Cody. She created this persona for herself, and she put herself into both of these characters, and I think she was doing wonderful. I think I kind of got sidetracked there, but yeah.
I want to talk about the music because we've talked about the musicians
Quickly.
real quick. 'Cause the music in this movie is awesome. Go ahead, Victoria.
I'm gonna take myself out for a second because I forgot to use the bathroom before we started. But then you can have me back in. I don't want to interrupt and be like a
That's
weird
fine.
empty space.
It'd be just a blank screen.
Right?
Say, what
I'll
do
be
you
back.
think, Victoria? And just blank screen. All right, we'll add her back in when she's back. But I want to talk about the music for a second because I think the music is so good, and it's of its time. There's a bunch of bands that are in here that just like I don't know if they do anything now. I mean, somebody gets killed at Akon in this, which is the most 2009 scene ever. So Gabe, that leads into one of Gabe's questions. Gabe, I want to steal it from you real quick. Low shoulder. What was the question, Gabe? It was if they existed, would you be a fan of them, right?
Correct.
Yes. Would you go see a Low Shoulder concert, Destiny?
Yes. Not knowing how shitty they are in real life, yes. Because Through the Trees, I listened to this song.
It's a good song.
It is a great song. And like I was saying, like with going back to my best friend Maddie, usually like when we hang out, if we go anywhere, we play this song. We'll turn it all the way up. We fucking love this song. And I love seeing the signs, you know, on the road, the Low Shoulder. Every time I see one, I'm like, oh my God, hi. I get so just like giddy about it. But I would see Low Shoulder. But they probably, I mean, obviously they get famous because they sacrifice a virgin. So, you know, which that's something I never really picked up on. Like the first fucking however many years of me watching it, it wasn't until like a few years ago whenever, because when you watch a movie so many times, you just know. You like know how it plays out, you know? And I try to watch it and like gain new like perspectives about it. And I'm like, no fucking shit. That's why they're famous, because they made a sacrifice. Like, duh. That's why they get fame from all this, because they make a sacrifice. And that's why they die in the end, because they don't sacrifice a virgin.
They didn't. It doesn't work out. Yeah.
No.
For everybody, it's like even Needy makes like a cardinal mistake, just saying the wrong thing at the wrong time and saying, "Oh, she's a virgin," when clearly Jennifer isn't. She hasn't been since junior high, as they say in the movie.
I'm a backdoor virgin.
I'm a couple of credits shy of my demonology degree, but from what I do know of demonology is that when you try to sacrifice a virgin and she's not a virgin, you still your whatever pact goes through. So you still get, like, for example, Low Shoulder, you still get famous, but the person you try to sacrifice, they become possessed. So then they become a succubus. So that's what Jennifer ended up being. She ended up being a succubus for the devil. But Low Shoulder.
Maybe this is what happened to Adam Levine. Things are going shitty for him right now.
Low Shoulder did do it. They killed somebody, even though they weren't a virgin. They did kill somebody. She just got possessed.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. The deal, they did not pull their entire weight of the deal. Of course, they don't know, because even whenever, you know, they're in the van and they're like, are you sure she's a virgin? And then Jennifer's like, yeah, like I've never even done sex, because she's thinking they're about to rape her. So she's like, I've never done that. Like, I don't know. And she doesn't know. She's feeding into more of what they actually want. Right. I mean, would they have believed her if she was like, actually, like, I lied, like, I'm not a virgin? They probably wouldn't have believed her. But it just sucks that, like, Needy's trying to stand up for her friend and, like don't talk about her like that, basically. And it just does the complete opposite, and it backfires.
Right. And then Needy even tells her, like, hey, like, they're going to try to do something with you. They think you're a virgin. And she's like, why would they think that? And she's like, I'm not even an ass virgin. And she's like, Needy's like all taken aback. And she's like, well, like, what? Like, I was like,
I'm not even a backdoor version.
Oh, backdoor version.
The writing, and I think the marketing really hurt Megan Fox in this movie, because she's very good. And I think it's sad that you had Michael Bay, who turned out to give her another chance and help her in some way with the Turtle movies and whatnot. But he really hurt her by painting her as this sex icon. and then the marketing on top of that. Because her performance here, if her performance doesn't work, the movie doesn't work. Because Megan needs to be witty and funny, and you need to believe that she's a girl that exists at the top of the food chain, right? And she nails every single Diablo Cody line. I think there's only about 3 people I could say that when it comes to Diablo Cody's really quick-witted dialogue, completely knock it out of the park, and that's Elliot Page with Juno, and then Megan Fox and Charlize Theron in Young Adult. And all 3 of them have very similar sort of I don't know, they really care that Diablo Cody's writing is so specific to her. You really need a specific actress to deliver that. And I think all 3 of those do. And Megan is like the most underrated because critics and audiences told you this movie's bad and it sucks and she's terrible. And it really hurt her. And I think after that, like, you really don't see her go for another role that isn't eye candy until maybe Till Death, the movie that she did a couple years ago, where she's handcuffed her husband, which is good, and she's really good in that. But
she had a small cameo in This Is 40, and again, this is another one that it was directed more towards guys because she's topless and she has what's her face, Lisa Mann touch her breasts and be like, here, feel these, are these real? And so she did another sort
it's
of
a funny scene, but
scene.
It's not played to her strengths, and I think
it's not played for her strengths at all.
She's funny. She can be funny. Give her some really good dialogue. Have a good writer. Feed her some funny lines, and she can do it totally. And I think that's what makes this movie work. Is it has to juggle all these things. It needs to juggle the allegory. It needs to juggle actual visceral violence, as well with a friendship, a real story about friendship. And I think it's crazy. It can do all of those things while also being tongue in cheek. Very few movies can do that. This is one of them.
Yes, I agree. I feel like this movie it's like genius. And like you said, if like she wanted Megan Fox because she said she had like mystique that like a lot of other people just don't have these days. And that's why she wanted her to play Jennifer. And like you said, if Megan Fox is Jennifer, like if it was, I don't know, if it was like pretty much anyone else, it just wouldn't have worked the same way. Because like you said, she's witty, she's funny, and she's playing into this character of like what Hollywood perceived her to be as just like this self-centered, bitchy girl. And that's how they made her out to be. And then she plays into it and she does it so well. And then she still gets shitted on. It's like, this is what y'all think I am. I do it and I do it fucking well. And y'all still don't like me. What is it? And it's just, people just hated her. And I remember people hating her. I didn't remember hating off the movie, but I remember people just shitting all over her. I'm like, I don't get it. Because if you watch her in interviews, she's fucking funny. But she's like smart funny. She's generally she's smart. And like, people just perceive her to be just a stupid hot girl. It's like, I am much more than my looks. I am smart. I am funny. And I do know what I'm doing. And I feel like there's moments in this movie to where it's like, it doesn't even feel like she's acting. Because it just feels like she knows exactly what to do. And then the scene when she's being sacrificed, it is heartbreaking to watch. Because she's like giving it her all. And she's screaming and she's crying. And still. Or like when she gets to be gross and dirty and throwing up black shit. She looks so just... everything about it when she's not her pretty normal self and she's dirty and gross, she does it so well, and she's able to play off all of these different parts where she's being like seductive and like flirty and then scary. She does everything so well in this movie, and if it wasn't her, I don't think this movie would nearly be as good, because it also just plays into like what she was going through in real life as well. So
well, you sort of played into one of my questions, because one of the favorites for the studio wasn't Megan Fox. It was actually Blake Lively, and she was going to be in this, but Gossip Girl wouldn't let her out of her contract to go do this movie. So, like, I guess I know you're going to be your answer, but if she was the lead here for Jennifer's body, I mean, do you think the movie would have changed? Maybe the way it was marketed towards young adults, because you think it was the way it was marketed because of Megan Fox and the Transformers fame. It's such a different marketing than Gossip Girl Blake Lively. It would have been different.
Yeah, I do think the marketing would have definitely been different. Do I think the movie would have done better? Probably. Like, financially better? Probably.
I'd agree.
Do I think the movie would have been better? No. I
No.
think Blake Lively is beautiful. She's very talented. I've never seen Gossip Girl,
Oh,
but
you're
I've seen her
missing
in
out.
other
Me
stuff.
neither.
I knew
And
Gabe
she's
was going to say
great.
that.
You're
He loves
missing out.
What
Gossip
did you
Girl.
You're missing out.
Maybe one day I'll give it a chance. Maybe one day.
Between Blake Lively and Gossip Girl and Adrian Brody and the OC, man, those are sweethearts.
I know. But I don't, this movie might have done better financially, because people went into this movie already having this thought about Megan Fox to where they didn't care about the movie. That's not what mattered to them. It's what can we do to keep tearing her down. So I think maybe it would have been perceived better if it was Blake Lively, but I don't think it would have worked nearly as well as it does. I just don't think really anything about it would have been the same. It would have had a different feel. I think Megan Fox was the perfect choice for this. In my opinion, the only choice for this.
Yeah, I agree with the only choice.
No, absolutely. So speaking of which, right? It's now they at the time they had planned to do a sequel. Diablo Cody was already working on the script for a sequel. Obviously, because of the lack of success at the box office, and now it is a cult favorite. Do you think the sequel should come back? Should they do a sequel? Maybe a reboot in a sense with somebody newer? Like, what do you think about that?
I think for like so long, I was always just like, no, because do I think it needs it? No. But would I see it? Yes. If Diablo Cody wrote it, I would only want her to write it, no one else. And I would love to see, Karen come back and direct it. I would love to see the original cast come back, because I think it could work. Like, yes, Jennifer dies, but they're also dealing with the devil. So, like, she could come back. There's still a way for her to come back.
Somebody said, Jesse said, when you guys say for her to come back, and he says, what MGK? I'm sorry, like, I haven't really been looking at the chat, sorry. I just saw that reading. Like, what kind
if
of
MGK is in it, I would punch someone. Literally. I would be fucking mad. Don't bring him. Do not bring him into this amazing movie,
Wait,
okay?
We're
not
didn't they
talking
break
about
up, though?
MGK.
Did they?
What?
I thought they broke up.
No, I don't think so. I'm waiting for the day, though. But
they're sharing blood. They can't break up. No, that's a bond. It's a sacred bond.
He gives me the ick. He gives me the entire
It's
ick.
all part of the
entire body.
sacrificial.
Big ick.
The
Big ick.
sacrifice.
Strange guy.
Ick energy.
He's very strange. He's weird.
Big ick energy.
I like the one song that he did with Sleeping with Sirens years ago. And that's it. That's literally it. I can't stand him. But would I be down for a sequel? Yes. If the original everyone comes back. And if it's not, then no. Because then what's the point?
No, exactly.
I think if Twitter existed, and well, it did exist, but had it been
Just
as big as it is
though.
now, if we're taking Twitter now and putting it then with the same critics, this movie doesn't fall into the 45% or whatever it has on Rotten Tomatoes, with a bunch of people going, movie bad, Megan Fox not hot. Like, they wanted hot scenes and they didn't get that. I think with today's audience, I mean, there's more of a voice and there's an instrument to deliver your voice of, oh, I really like this, and there's other people that can like come to its rescue. Much like The Empty Man. The Empty Man was a movie that got critically completely junked, and like everybody who had seen it, which was a small audience, said this movie's bad, and it had like a 30% on Rotten Tomatoes. And then the internet finds it like a year later and goes, this movie's great. And now it's critically acclaimed, and everybody is demanding a like DVD release. So I think had Jennifer's Body had come out today, or with this same audience.
We'll see what you're thinking about today.
I know, right? Hey, I had the biggest crush on Megan, not in Transformers or this movie. I mean, I did. I bought the poster. Actually, they gave it out for free at this shop I went to called Little.
Sure.
They
You
did.
bought that shit.
No, the guy would give us free posters. If Julian watches this episode, he can attest to it. It was Confessions of a Teenage Drama Queen. I saw that with my sister, and I said, "What is this?"
That red dress, dude. That red
yeah.
dress looks so fucking good.
I don't even remember much about that movie, but we saw that there was a moment where Lindsay was just like popping out movie after movie, and I think we saw all of those. And Megan Fox is like the villain, I think. And
Yeah, she's like the
yeah,
mean girl.
she's like the mean
And
girl
she,
in that one.
her voice is so high in that movie too. I love watching her in like older stuff because she's on some like Mary Kate and Ashley stuff as well. And it's so crazy seeing her like
shit.
so young compared to like what she went on to do. It's just amazing because like I didn't watch Teenage Confessions of a Drama Queen until this year. I knew about it somewhat, but I just never watched it. And then I found the DVD at Goodwill, and I was like, fuck yeah. And I was watching it, and I was like, oh my God, like this is where all this comes from. Because I would see stuff, but I had no idea what the movie was. I would see that red dress a lot. And I was watching the movie, and I was like, oh my God, she looks so good in it. It's a really good movie. And I think I cried. Which that movie's kind of weird too. Sidetrack. This is way. She kisses a singer, full circle. Lindsay Lohan kisses a singer in that who has at least got to be 21, I'm going to say, because he's getting drunk at the bar and drunk in the streets. And Miss Mann is still in high school, and they kiss at the very end. I was like,
Oh, that dude, I remember that dude. He's probably at least 30.
And he wasn't even as hot as Adam Brody.
Yeah, who played that?
But see, that's the thing is a lot of times they show these like a lot of these movies show like these weird like 24, 25-year-old men with like 17, 16-year-old high school girls or high school girls going out with college guys. It's like that's statutory rape. Like
back to Elvis. Elvis, there's a scene in Elvis where he's like fucking dancing and they want you to wiggle. They want you to wiggle, and the girls are having orgasms in their seats. Which was
and
a
the
thing
new one?
And the new one. But it's a thing that people attest to what was happening. These women were just like, they're from these small towns, and he's doing things that you weren't allowed to do on TV or the radio. He's dancing around, and you are not allowed to do that. So they're just like, fucking, they don't know, their bodies don't know what to fucking do. Of course, the movie's over-exaggerated because it's a big, gaudy musical. But it goes back to Elvis and Chuck Berry and the Beatles. Just it's like the it's like temptation. It's like something that they can't have, right? And it's like right in front of them. I mean, even like Harry Styles things now. Me and Victoria went to.
I was waiting for like One Direction.
Yeah, I know. I went with her, and the girl fucking next to us is like fucking sobbing, and Victoria wants to console. I said, do not touch that girl.
I didn't just say that.
She came alone. You were talking to her, and she took
our picture.
She did. Besides that, she was like crying, and I said the man isn't even out yet. He's not even doing anything yet, and she's gonna have a fucking panic attack, and just her makeup is done.
You don't get it.
So listen,
no, right?
Because I was that. I was like that at the Katy Perry concert, bro. She hadn't even come out yet.
Did you go to Katy Perry?
I did. I actually went to Minneapolis. I drove from Chicago, was sold out. I drove to Minneapolis to go see her. I drove 8 hours to go see her concert.
That's dedication. I don't know any Harry Styles fan that'll do that.
I went to Toronto from Vancouver.
I know, and now she's dragging me to another one of these. I have to go
LA
next month. Yeah.
Bitch.
Oh, I saw One Direction in Houston 1 year. Midnight Memories tour.
I didn't get to go.
Dane was still in the band.
But he puts on a great show, and I can't even hate him because I genuinely like his music. And the show that he put on was like awesome. Besides her fucking crying in my ear nonstop, this poor 17-year-old.
No, listen. If Joseph Quinn walked in front of me, I would literally throw myself on the floor. No hesitation, just on the ground. So, no.
They're probably doing that at these fucking comic conventions now that he's going to.
And they're playing that Eddie song
Wayne's
on
World
TikTok.
thing. Yeah. Oh we're not worthy. Gabe, you got any other questions, man? What else?
Yes. We're gonna go easy now.
Okay.
What's your favorite kill in the movie?
What'd you say? Sorry.
What's your favorite kill in the movie?
My favorite kill. Sorry, I had to take my phone's dying and I can't fucking hear anything, so I'm doing that thing where I have to get like right in the camera. My favorite kill is Colin's kill. Kyle Gallner in it, looking good as a goth, super hot, and I just love because you don't fully see it. You see her like push him to the ground, but because there's like this like sheet kind of hanging over because they're in like a house that's being built. They have like a sheet, and so you just see her like push him, and then you see her like get on top of him, and like you see her like fangs come out, and her like face transform through the shadow, and she's like biting him, and like like ripping up, and there's blood just being thrown everywhere.
Right.
And I think it looks so good. It looks so amazing. The usage of the shadow. I had watched what's it called? Fuck. There's a movie that they showed on the last drive-in this season, and it was about death to me. That's not it. Something like that. And there's a kill scene that's really similar to that one, where they're on the bed, and it's like one of those beds that has like the thing that hangs around it, and she's kind of doing the same thing. She's like on top of him, like killing him, but you only see it through the shadow. It makes me wonder if like maybe they had saw that and did that, because I've never seen that movie, and I never saw a kill like that. And then I saw this, and I was like, oh wow, like that reminds me of Jennifer's Body. But I absolutely love, because it's like you don't get to see everything, but you get to see the blood, which is a great touch. And it looks so good. It just looks so good. And I hated seeing them go, but still.
So
And Alta Akon. Great scene.
All to Akon. So.
Akon.
Oh my god.
So you also mentioned the effects. Is that your favorite effect then?
I really love in that same scene when her eyes change when she's talking to Colin, you know, and he's just like, whoa, because like that's not normal. That's pretty fucked up. But also, whenever she kills the first like football guy out in the field, when she's like, "You're gonna see your buddy real soon in heaven," nope. And then her face. It's when you first get to see like what she looks like for the transformation, and you get to fully see it. And like it's practical and digital combined. And so, and I don't think it looks bad. I think it looks pretty good, especially it being 2009.
It still holds up.
Yeah, the movie
it holds up.
The Final Destination, which also came out in 2009, which has some of the worst effects I've ever seen. It looks like shit. And then you have this movie to where they're doing the same thing, because that movie was also practical and digital on top of each other. Does not work. You're doing something like this, which it is on a smaller scale because it's just her face, really. But I think that scene in the woods, when you first see her face kind of drop down with her fangs, I think it looks amazing. So I would say that might be my favorite effect.
Okay. Now, this is a question we've been asking everybody, and this is the one that we end with, my questions at least. Would you be able to survive this movie?
Oh, absolutely. She's killing people. This is me. I don't know a thing. I don't
say nothing.
As long as she doesn't like come after like anyone too close to me, that's not my problem. Not my problem. So yeah, I would be safe.
That's not my business.
Or just if you're a guy, just take a play at a Scream Force playbook and just say you're gay. Really, the only way you can survive.
I wouldn't survive. Sorry, guys.
Wait, but no, either way, she goes both ways. She says so. You're kind of fucked. I think even if she.
But I wouldn't like stop her, because that's why she gets mad at Needy, because Needy's like trying to stop her and like take her down. Yeah. But I wouldn't. I'd be like, I don't see anything.
As long as I get to stay alive.
Exactly.
You can do what you gotta do.
I'm thinking about
myself. Those friends. I didn't like them anyway.
Yeah, exactly. They deserved it, girl.
Fuck it.
They fell victim to a trap, you know? Like,
it's
come on now.
Men are
some
stupid.
of these men, I'm like,
it's a thirst trap. It's the ultimate thirst trap. Yeah.
Exactly. So yes, I would survive. Absolutely.
I'm different.
As I'm drinking, it's a thirst trap.
Well, you know what I love about this movie, when we brought up the effects, is the effects hold up, I think. And in 2009, they were trying, this is around the time they were trying to see CGI in horror for a lot of things. And we had Cody and we talked about The Thing, had effects in there. And there's some really wonky effects in the 2011 thing. And in this movie, what's so good is they knew from the get-go, we're going to do practical, and then whatever cleanup we need, we'll do digital. And they even brought a body double for Megan for the face scan and all those things. That's why those scenes work, and that's why they are scary, even if it is digital. I would say it even looks better than some of the jaw extension scenes in 2017's It, which is cool. But you could tell it's CGI. You could tell totally that's not Bill Skarsgård. But here you could okay, that's Megan Fox, clearly. Or if they have something that they can't do, they do it in a way that's creative, visually. You talk about the sheet scene, you just see shadows. That's it, but it's visually appealing. You know what's happening. Or even when Megan's levitating, like all those things, they're just really well-constructed set pieces in this movie. That's like, and that's the best horror, right? It's like scenes that we can remember. We can remember the tongue scene, which is like that's a shot by itself. Is her burning her tongue, saying, "Oh God." But this movie is just chock full of all that stuff, as well as being super super smart, and I think that's what makes it work. That's why it's so good. Don't do it, Gabe. You're not
I
Megan
can't
Fox.
with y'all.
I was
Don't
doing
do
it.
it, man. Don't do it. Oh no, I don't want to. I don't want to be a part of this. I don't want to
Actually,
be a part of this.
Oh
Still
no.
do with my cigarette. When I get shorter, I'm able to like to flip it in inside out to the other side, and then like just reflip it out.
Oh, you dropped it.
Oh no, it's here.
Oh, so there's something that Gabe, I don't know, did you write this one down? Because this is one that I didn't know, and I think it's pretty disgusting. We forgot to mention this with the marketing.
Oh yeah, I wrote this one down because I saw it. So I saw Tony's notes, and he's like, "Hey, add any other trivia that you wanted." And I saw this trivia, and I thought was pretty disgusting. So according to Diablo Cody, when the film was marketed, hold on, I'm sorry.
Oh,
One of the marketing
Yep.
ideas, it was to have Megan Fox do live chats with amateur porn sites. And when I read that, I thought that was really disgusting.
That's
I was
gross.
like,
Gross.
that's gross. Like, why would you want to have your lead actress, one of your lead actors talk with amateur porn sites? And besides that, it's why wouldn't you like also promote Amanda Seyfried? Not that that's right, but why not have both of them? Like, I did not get their marketing.
The clear message is women should be marketed towards this movie. And if it was Blake Lively, I forgot to mention, they would have marketed towards women because she brought in a female audience with Gossip Girl. And she was seen as like, oh, she's really talented and charming and she could carry a show. You put her on the face of Jennifer's Body, suddenly the critical reception is different and they say, oh, this is a really smart movie with a great lead. They don't do that, and it goes back to the Michael Bay thing and Transformers and making Megan Fox this sex icon. So that's what producers think of her. And the only studio where the only producers that were on the side of Megan and Karen Kusama was Jason Reitman, that whole crew that had done Juno and knew about the female perspective and the experience and what they were doing. The studio did not care about any of this. So I'm not even shocked that porn sites was part of it. And I didn't know this, Gabe. It's disgusting. It's like
It is.
just weird. It's weird. You would never do that.
Yeah,
with
that's just
any
weird.
Movie ever. Why? Why would that be a part of this movie?
Why is that an option?
For the most part, besides the lure of temptation of sex, is pretty much almost sexless. Strange.
It's called Death by Temptation. You said temptation and the title hit me. That's what the movie is. Death by Temptation. Because it's the same thing. It's a woman who lures men for sex and then kills them. So,
what year is this movie?
I think it was in the 90s. I want to say it was the 90s, maybe 1990. But it's on. It should still be on Shudder. If they might have taken off, I don't know. But it was showed on The Last Drive-In. That's where I saw it for the first time. Death by Temptation. Wow,
Boy.
I'm glad you said that word as soon as you did.
Teamwork.
That was it was like the Scooby-Doo stuff right there. We solved it. We could be the Mystery Gang. Another Scooby-Doo reference. Second episode in a row. We could be the Mystery Inc. Gang. Gabe, you're Shaggy.
Makes sense.
Makes sense. I guess I'll be Velma. I feel like I got the hair.
I'll be the dog.
No,
I was gonna say Daphne, but okay.
You gotta be Sarah Michelle Gellar. I'm gonna be Freddie. I want to be Freddie Prinze Jr. I'll dye my hair blonde.
Michelle Gellar.
Exactly. I'll cut mine shorter. Boom. We have our costume idea.
We could do it.
Gabe, is there anything else?
We got Gabe's dog to be Scooby.
Right. We could get Gabe's dog. Gabe, is there anything else we haven't covered that we should talk about before we start closing out?
No, we've got the CG, the special effects. We've gone over every single question.
Ooh, can I add something then quickly?
Yes,
I don't know if you guys talked about it while I was in the bathroom or not, but I like how me and Tony were talking about this after the movie ended, that the one thing that really hurt her as this God, Satan, demon thing was her ripping off the friendship necklace. That's what did it. That's what I really liked about it. Damn, that's fucked up.
That's right. We didn't even mention
Not the friendship necklace.
Not the Biff.
Right? I think that's really, I don't know. I just like the idea of that scene, that that's really what'll get you is losing a friend.
Yeah,
Because I'm pretty sure
carry
Megan
friendship-
still saw her as a
friendship
friend this whole
bracelets.
time. Jennifer probably saw her as a friend still that whole time. maybe
Mhm.
in a way. I mean, even though Needy gets upset all the time, they both keep, even as a demon, she keeps her friendship necklace on.
Mhm.
Like, you know, they're still besties to the resties.
And she even tells her like she couldn't kill her that night because she did go there to kill her, to
Yeah.
like actually kill her. And she's like, but I couldn't do it because, you know, even though like Jennifer is such a bitch, and you know, Needy does say like you were never a good friend because like she just used her basically, and she kind of, it's like that thing of like needing validation, but you always have this one person there that will always make you feel validated. You know,
Mhm.
your best friend will always be there. Because like I know if my best friends, when they're being dumb, I might tell them they're dumb, but like I'm still there. You know,
Still
if
there
they're
for it.
being crazy, I'll be crazy with them. And that's just how like a lot of female friendships are. Like whatever you're feeling, I will also be feeling, and that's kind of like what it seems like. So
Mhm.
Needy is
Yeah.
always that person who I do think is in love with Jennifer. And I think Jennifer knows that and uses that to her advantage. There's the part whenever they're in the bar watching the band perform, and Jennifer's becoming like transfixed on them, and she grabs Needy's hand like out of excitement, you know. And then Needy like looks over at her and she sees like, you know, like how focused and just mesmerized by them, but like she doesn't get that and she drops her hand. And so I think there's moments in this movie that just it shows like Needy is in love with Jennifer. Maybe she doesn't know she's actually in love with her, and I think Jennifer knows that and is able to use that to her advantage. That's why she goes to the house, like you said, to like know like they are so close. And in that moment of the kiss, she's kind of using it as leverage, but Needy's using it as like exploration. And so they're, like you said, they're both different, but I don't know. Female friendships are kind of, they're a
A
little,
lot.
they're a little, sometimes, I don't know. Feeling
But all
crazy.
friendships have that
Feeling
type of
goofy.
level, right? Every single friendship has that type of level of, you know, closeness or what have you, you know?
I think it's. I don't know any. I don't know. I don't think male friendships are as intense. I don't think. I don't think they are. I just don't think it's there. I don't know many guys that sleep in the same bed and hold hands and share fucking makeup and like share
And you
drinks
know what
and
that
stuff.
could be from? Toxic masculinity. You know?
Sure.
I
sure.
think more male friendships should be like that. I don't think, you know.
Y'all should be holding hands.
Exactly. Will I pretend to be my best friend's girlfriend? Absolutely.
Mhm.
Yes. Yes, for sure. Will I sleep in the same bed as my friend? Absolutely. We've done that
Have done it.
since middle school. We constantly do that. And I do
Be
feel like
comfortable in your
there's
sexuality. We got to
forced to
bring back
change
male
in front of-
bonding.
Forced to change in
yes,
front of
bring
girls all the time in school. There's no locker. I mean, there's no changing rooms at school.
Right.
You're just
Yeah.
exposed to it all the time. You just become comfortable.
Exactly. Because I think we are allowed to feel comfortable when
Yeah.
maybe men aren't allowed to
Mhm.
feel comfortable. That's because they were taught to not feel comfortable. But I do think, yeah,
That part.
definitely with females, there's kind of like, which not all girls are like this. There are some girls, I saw something about taking baths with your friend, which I've never done. I've never taken a
No.
shower with my friend. I'm weird about being naked like that. But but they're like, oh my god, like I can never even sleep in the same bed as my friend. I was like, what?
That part's weird.
And it's like if she crosses a line, she's losing a limb. I'm like, first of all, I cuddle in my sleep. Do I mean to? No, but I do. My bad. I will move over to you. I just do that. Doesn't mean I'm trying to fuck you. I'm just trying to sleep here comfortably. But you know, I feel like with a lot of female friendships, that's just kind of, we say we're gonna kiss each other all the time. I've seen people say y'all said like gonna bump coochies together. That's just how girls are. That's just sometimes that's what we say. Because like I feel like there's not, I don't know, there's not like a weirdness there to it. Because we're like, yeah, and that's
It's not that deep.
It's not.
No, I
You just
literally will
say
tell my
stuff.
friends, like, if you, like, when I was in school, if you get me Starbucks, I will kiss you on the mouth.
Literally, full tongue and everything.
Tony,
some
if we reach
Starbucks.
500 subscribers, I will kiss you on the lips.
That'll
Ooh.
get the people going.
No. See,
Victoria,
this is the difference. I can't do it. I just can't bring myself.
We're breaking
Even
the bond tonight.
I like Gabe a lot, but to bring myself to kiss him, I just don't think I could. I think.
listen, I'll shave so that way you don't get any, you know.
Hi, Cattail.
As long as you shave, I suppose it's fine. I suppose it's fine. All right, guys. That was Jennifer's body.
That was kissing your friends.
That's kissing your friends.
Kissing your friend and Jennifer's body. But this was a great episode. I thought it was awesome. We kind of went into everything. We went into it. We got into everything from Adam Levine to
Hey,
kissing.
check out Low Shoulders' new album. It's,
And Low Shoulders
Through
new
the
album.
trees.
It's good. It's under the radar. It's great. It's awesome.
Indie.
Destiny, thank you for coming on tonight. It was a pleasure.
Thank you for having me. I was really excited. I love talking about Jennifer's Body. Like you said, one of my favorite horror movies. That's why I'm here. So I'm really happy I got to talk, with people that like it and like respect it and see like that it does have value. I think it's always cool to like actually talk to people who kind of understand the movie and not just look at it as eye candy. Like that there's layers to this movie, and there's a lot that went into this movie and how important this movie might be for people. And so I'm happy I got to talk about it.
Victoria, Gabe, anything to say before we start signing off?
I'm good, man.
Kiss your friends.
I enjoy the hell out of it. And I think when I saw it, I was that man that saw it because it was Megan Fox. But as far as on more watches, you pick up on different things, and you like it not just because of Megan Fox anymore.
Growing.
Slay.
I think this movie rules. It really does. It does everything right you want out of a horror comedy. It's whip smart. It's funny, and there's some visually striking moments. So yeah, it was great revisiting this because it's just another reason to give a great movie a watch, and it is a great movie. So I was happy to talk about it with all of you. And Destiny, do you have anything coming up before we start rolling out here?
Fear Freaks tomorrow on Braden Timm's channel. We'll be talking about Pearl. Really excited for that.
Another great film, yeah.
With another badass woman. Love it. Love to see women do crazy shit. Love it. So we'll be talking about that tomorrow. But besides that, I think that's it for like the rest of the week.
Cool. Awesome. Tuesdays, guys, is going to be my favorite horror movie. Next Tuesday, we have, who do we got? I know who we got. We got Not That Bad. I'm excited.
Yay.
Finally have Connor on the show. Longtime supporter, has always been there. I love this guy whenever he comes on. I just did a podcast with him. I know Gabe did too. Victoria will as well. So
next week I'm shooting, I think, possibly.
Oh yeah, there you go. So we're having both of them on, Connor and Gabe, and they're great guys. So I can't wait to do that. And we'll I guess we could say what the movie is. I mean, I've been saying what the movie is the week prior too. So Halloween 2. We're doing Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. And there's a bunch of people here who love this movie.
I love that one, but for some reason I thought it was like 1981.
Oh no, it's Rob Zombie's Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. We'll be talking about that one. I have to. I got to take the notes and all the other things and give it its fair chance. But I'm excited.
Oh, that's the new one. I didn't know that one. I'm throwing gang signs now. What's that connection here now?
But I want to thank everybody who's been watching lately. I feel like we've really seen a uptick in subscribers and viewership, so it's great. I think it's awesome that people are discovering us. Watch this episode. Go watch Jennifer's Body. Go see movies this week. There's a ton of great movies out. There's Pearl. There's The Woman King. There's a ton of stuff you can see, and it's awesome. So if you haven't already, hit that like button, subscribe, comment, share, and remember, if we hit a certain amount, Gabe will be punched in the face.
Or Tony will be kissed on the lips by me.
I will not be kissed on the lips, but he will be
Flip a
punched
coin
in the face. This has been my favorite horror movie. Destiny, thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much.
On that note, before it gets too crazy, we're going to sign off, and we'll see you guys next time. Remember, punch in the face. It's going to happen.